Thank you. Oki Daranistata Ambawastich Tanse, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today as we mark Neighbour Day in Calgary. I'm hopeful that many Calgarians are coming back together with block parties and other events at community centres, parks, and city attractions so you can celebrate each other. I joined the Bowness residents this morning at their community association to kick off Neighbour Day. And it was also a way to recognize that that community has been through so much. Neighbour Day marks the anniversary of the 2013 flood, and that community not only withstood that catastrophe, they also went through a flood in 2005. And then in the past week, they've had a severe water crisis that left their homes without water for several days. And this is the very same water crisis that has led us to declare a state of local emergency in Calgary earlier today. At our morning briefing, I shared that the city has said repairs are now forecast to take between 3 and 5 weeks, as we have found 5 more places that need to be repaired along the water feeder main. I also said that if we can make this happen faster, we will make it happen faster. I'm absolutely determined to do everything that I can to get back to a fully restored water system as quickly as possible. I can promise you that. Given that we now have declared a state of local emergency and the water feeder main repair and restoration situation has changed dramatically in the last 24 hours, I was unfortunately only able to attend Bowness Community for Neighbour Day this year, but it was absolutely a wonderful event. The strength and resilience of that community is something we should all be very proud of, and they are an inspiration and an example to follow as we carry on through water-saving measures. Last night, I had my staff clear the rest of my weekend so that I could continue conversations with the provincial government and foster engagement between our city operations teams and the many folks from the private sector who have said they have ideas and they would like to engage in conversation. Here in Alberta, we have world-leading experts ready to discuss solutions, and I'm grateful for the willingness of so many to put up their hand and say they're ready to help if they're able to. It's my absolute number one priority to get this resolved as quickly and safely as possible for all of us. I'll now turn things over to Calgary Emergency Management Agency Chief Sue Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. Earlier today, we declared a state of local emergency. This reinforces the urgency and the priority of this response as we work with crews, contractors, and partners to get this massive repair done and restore water services to each and every one of you. We've had the Municipal Emergency Plan and the Emergency Operations Centre open since the early hours of the feeder main break. Through this coordination that was in place, we were able to quickly coordinate with our agency members to get access to the materials and personnel. It has supported our efforts thus far, and it's made the strategies that we have in place now effective. However, we need to have additional flexibility to deal with any evolving situations that may arise. And a state of local emergency lets us go forward in our response, knowing we can manage unknown scenarios and other complications that we may encounter as we move forward. As announced yesterday, we anticipate current water restrictions will last 3 to 5 weeks longer. This means 3 to 5 more weeks of a couple of less flushes a day and thoughtful actions about each and every drop of water that you use and each and every thing that you do that will add demand to our water system. We have done this. We did it last Saturday and we were able to bring our demand down, and we know you can do it again. As many of you are aware, there is rain in the forecast, and this weather over the next few days will help us. We're grateful for the cooperation of the weather, and now is not the time to make hay while the sun shines, but to capture rain while the rain falls. This is an opportunity and a great time to collect that rain. Find a rain barrel, find a bucket, find any kind of container that you can set outside, and it's a great water use for your gardens as well as any of your plants outside. Any container can do this, and we encourage you to put out as many as you can so that we have a supply for the coming days and the coming weeks. And Calgary, we've been so inspired by your incredible and creative solutions of ways to catch and reduce your water use. We're enjoying seeing these responses, so keep talking about them, keep sending them to us, and it's really evidence that Calgary is stepping up. To learn more about what rainwater and grey water can be used for, visit calgary.ca. A quick update on the numbers that we're seeing today from bylaw M311. To date, we've received 5,724 calls related to the water feeder main break, with 1,794 related to water misuse. The majority have these been resolved, and the crews are currently actively working on the 139 cases that remain open. For fire bans, we've received a total of 220 calls, and 18 of those calls remain open today with crews working on them. On 311, our wait times currently sit at approximately 18 minutes. We are encouraging Calgarians to use the 311 app or calgary.ca to make your service request. We've been able to add on the app a feature where there's a banner at the bottom of the app. If you tap on that banner, it will immediately take you to a 311 service request online. As the Mayor mentioned, today is Neighbour Day, and it's an important time to consider your neighbours as we respond to this emergency together. I hope you are getting to connect with your most immediate community in a way that doesn't use any unnecessary water. As strong and resilient Calgarians, I encourage you to continue to band together at this time. From helping your neighbor collect rainwater who may not be able to do so themselves, to continuing to use water mindfully so our first responders and hospitals have the supply they require. The spirit of the community is going to be what gets us through this. I'd also like to thank our neighbours in Airdrie, Sutuna, Chestermere, and Strathmore, who are also in this fight with us to conserve water while these repairs are made. We are all in this together. Thank you for what you're doing. Please continue to do this. If we all chip in, 1 million small reductions can make a huge difference. I will now pass to Director Francois Bouchart.
Good afternoon. Overnight, the team drained the remaining 300 meters of pipe still needing robotic inspection. This was the last section of pipe to be inspected for additional hotspots. Now, unfortunately, the robot inspection was set to occur last night, but was delayed because there was more water and we needed more draining time in the pipe. We should have this analysis completed by Monday. At this time, we're also continuing to do preventative maintenance work wherever it's needed on this pipe section. Yesterday, we shared that there are 5 hotspots where significant wire breakage has occurred and that require critical and urgent repair. The 5 hotspots are southeast of the current break before the Shagadappy pump station. This station is located near the North Edworthy Park at the bottom of Shagadappy Trail. It is important to note that the planning required for these repairs is complex. There are other utilities, such as a sewer line, that are very close to the hotspot sections of this pipe. We need to be very intentional in how we plan and action our crews to do this repair. We want to ensure how we excavate this pipe is safe and it doesn't impact critical infrastructure. We have mobilized consultants, contractors, and crews to work on these repairs concurrently. We have been working hard with partners from other municipalities and water utilities across North America, and I'm pleased to say that we have secured sufficient pipe material to complete the remaining repairs. 3 of the pipe segments are here in Calgary, and the remaining 2 have been sourced from the U.S. and should arrive by mid next week. We have worked with our provincial and federal counterparts to ensure their expedient delivery to our city. The 3 segments that are in Calgary are currently being prepared for installation. Within the next 2 days, our survey crews will complete the locates and preliminary surveys of the sites. As mentioned yesterday, we need to make these repairs as quickly, safely, and effectively as we can. We are committed to getting this done as fast as possible while working safely and protecting public health. We are working around the clock to finish this work and restore normal water service, but it will take time. Our initial estimates still hold to 3 to 5 weeks to complete. We're actively looking at ways to speed the work up, but not at the risk of public health or work quality. We'll have more information as it becomes available. I will now invite Nancy Mackay to speak.
Thank you, Director Bouchart. Today, I'd like to share with you an update on our water conservation progress and some steps we've taken since yesterday. When we first moved to conserve our water last week, we asked people to restrict their water in their homes. We began reaching out to businesses to ask for their support as well in reducing their water use. Our team has spoken to over 7,000 businesses thus far, and I want to say that businesses play a huge role in helping to reduce our water demand, and they actually make up about 35% of the city's water consumption in Calgary. Over the last week, we've heard from businesses across the city taking action, cutting back water use in their operations. They are making changes in how they run their businesses to use less water. To all those businesses taking those steps, big and small, I want to thank you for your efforts. We've also received questions about some businesses that are still using water and if more needs to be done to put restrictions in place. With yesterday's announcement that we will need to restrict our water for several more weeks, we are taking additional steps to ensure we are fair and consistent. Yesterday afternoon, we asked car washes, car dealerships, and car repair shops to cease their water use for vehicle cleaning. We're in the process of reaching out to all of these customers to explain this decision and to address their concerns and questions. We understand the impact such a decision may have. I want to assure these businesses that this is temporary, but a necessary measure given the situation we currently find ourselves in the city. For all other businesses, if you haven't already taken action to reduce your water already, the time is now. Please take a look where water is used for health and safety in your business and where it is non-essential for your operations, and consider the things that you can do differently. Here's some immediate actions businesses can take. Can you encourage your staff to work from home? By working from home, your employees can skip a shower, put on the clothes they wore yesterday, and even skip a hair wash or shave, and feel less guilty about perhaps not flushing the toilet, which can really help us as a city to reduce water use. At restaurants, scraping plates into a compost bin, not rinsing those dishes, reducing the number of dishes generated during serving if possible. Encouraging customers to request a glass of water rather than automatically providing full jugs of water is something that can be considered. At hotels, talk to your guests during their check-in and display information in their rooms about how they can reduce water during their stay by reusing towels, taking shorter showers, turning off their taps when not in use. At the city, we are working here on making more tips, guidance, and resources available for businesses to help you through this difficult time. There will be more to come in the coming days on calgary.ca. As was mentioned earlier by both the Mayor and Chief Henry, that with the rain forecast this weekend, there is many opportunities for us to collect rainwater for use in your gardens. Use a rain barrel if you have one. If you don't, and your yard will end up looking like mine with buckets all over the place trying to catch as much as we can for our gardens. Once again, I want to thank all Calgarians for everything you're doing to save water, because truly every drop counts. I have full confidence that we can band together to conserve the water that we need to during this challenging time. Thank you, and with that, I'll turn it back to the Mayor.
Thank you. To close, I want to address something that simply cannot be overstated: the need for everyone in Calgary and surrounding communities like Tsuut'ina Nation, Airdrie, Chestermere, and Strathmore, the need for all of us to conserve water diligently over the next few weeks. The situation we're facing is critical. The repairs to the water feeder main will take time, and we need to do our part, each and every one of us, to make sure that in that time we are limiting the water supply that we're using. I urge each of you to be mindful of your water actions. As I've said before, we're human beings and we're creatures of habit, so whatever it takes to remind you to break that habit is going to be important. Making sure you put a bucket near your shower so you remember that it's got to be shorter, and it's got to be a turn it on, turn it off, lather up, turn it back on, rinse off, and get on out of there in 3 minutes or less. Have a competition in your family. See who can do it the quickest. That's what we're doing around the office. 3 less toilet flushes in a day per household will bring us back to where we were last Saturday when we were at the best possible case of using the least amount of water possible. And I know that sounds a little bit like it's a joke. It's not. Actually, flushing the toilet does consume water, and if you flush a little bit less, you can do so much for us in this situation. And being a laundry tourist is a catchy new thing to do. If you have friends or family who live outside of Calgary and the surrounding area that's impacted, take your laundry over there as they invite you for dinner and, just be a good steward of water in our city. Our collective efforts are vital to managing this crisis effectively. Calgary, your resilience and community spirit have always been the things that stand out, and this is no different. I know we can band together and get through this. You've already done so much. I know I'm asking you for a little bit more, and I have every confidence that you can do that. Let's demonstrate our solidarity and commitment to overcoming this challenge as we have done with so many others in the past. Thank you for your cooperation, your understanding, your patience, and your diligence. Together, we can make a difference here. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris to field any questions that the media may have.
Thank you. I'll start with Terry, CC.
As for businesses, is there any plan to support the businesses that are close to the construction that have been heavily impacted? One of my colleagues was there today talking to business owners, saying that they're really worried for the next 3 to 5 weeks, have nobody coming in.
One of the things that we have tried to do over the course of the last week is really remind Calgarians that businesses in Bowness and Montgomery in particular continue to remain open, and it may require you finding an alternate route to get to them, or maybe your parking is going to be another block than it typically is, but those businesses can really use your support, and I think it's that kind of reminder that's going to be important. We liaise regularly with the business improvement area folks, and we are doing our best to get the word out that businesses are not shut down because of the construction at this time.
Another business question, just a clarification, when it comes to the car wash situation, do car washes not run on gray water? Like, does that, anybody who wants to?
So there is a statistic that car washes generally run on about 85% recycled water, but I'm going to turn it over to Director Mackay for more.
Absolutely. Many car washes do recycle their water. And many have already were voluntarily closed earlier last week. We certainly are analyzing all water use across the city, and I think every bit and everybody leaning in to help is very much what we want to focus on is the critical use, public health and safety. Ask many of us to not be, we don't need to wash your car right now. There's other ways to clean off that front visor if that's indeed what it is, so we can safely drive. So thank you for that.
Any other questions?
Does Calgary have the capacity to handle more tourists that are expected?
What I can speak to is this. We are definitely looking at the data from years past to understand what kind of water usage spike may happen in those peak times, and we can make some determinations from there as to what we do moving forward. We work with our partners like Calgary Stampede in situations like this to understand what role each of us plays in managing the situation. I can't speculate right now what we may have to do because we're not at that point yet, but as we get closer, definitely those are conversations that we will have.
I was talking to an engineer earlier today talking about the possibility of providing interim above ground piping. Is that something that's been talked about to get the water from Bearsville?
I can tell you that the crews and the senior leadership team have been having active conversations with each other as well as members in the private sector to see what kind of solutions could be put in place. There's many organizations that have to employ overland solutions, so that's definitely something that we're looking at.
Do we have the manpower?
One of the other things that we're doing right now is ensuring that we've got enough capacity by working with rotating crews to make sure that people are not working too long of a shift. We are also looking to contract other workers to make sure that we can fill those gaps. And I know the team is also looking to people who have retired and are thinking of perhaps coming back and pitching in during this time. So it is absolutely all hands on deck, and there's a combination of ways that we're making sure we've got that person power.
Mackenzie Post.
Just to follow up on the Stampede tourism one, when can we expect an answer for if and when that will still be a go? Because a lot of people are concerned who've put deposits down for hotels and bought plane tickets, etc.
So we are in early days of understanding that there are 5 more locations that need maintenance work and repair work. And during the uncovering of this, Calgary Stampede was looped in. I know that they were here at the Emergency Operations Center yesterday to get a briefing, and those conversations continue. So it's too early at this point to gauge what's going to happen, but we will provide updates as soon as they become available.
For bonus residents, we've got a lot of concerns about maybe creating a detour through Shouldes Park in case of emergencies. Do you have any plans to detour traffic while that road is closed over there?
Right now, we don't know what the repair schedule is going to look like. Number one, we don't know what the order of sites that will be looking at repair looks like until we have the parts in place. So it is just speculation at this point. I can tell you that as soon as we know where the repairs are going to be happening and what's going to be happening in terms of having to shut down roads or reroute traffic, we'll get that out publicly as quickly as possible. We are doing updates like this twice a day. And if there's any type of emergency updates that we need to issue, we will certainly do that.
And then one more, what provincial help, if any, are we getting?
So I have had conversations with the provincial government since the day we learned that this feeder main break had happened. I've spoken with Premier Smith directly. I've been in constant conversation with Minister McIver. Minister Schultz has reached out. I had a conversation last night with their Emergency Management Committee of Cabinet. They are willing to do whatever it takes to provide their help. They're looking at any of the vendors and contractors that they have in place. Right now, we don't really have a plan of how we will deploy the resources that they have offered. But again, those conversations continue, and we greatly appreciate the fact that we are partnered with the provincial government on this.
Sorry, one more. This pipe is 49 years into its 100-year lifespan, which obviously a lot of people are questioning because that's only halfway through. And they're looking for accountability. If you have any accountability, who or what department are you holding accountable for this massive failure? And then what's being done about other infrastructure built at the same time using the same methods?
I can appreciate that Calgarians want answers about what happened, how it happened, and who's accountable. I will tell you that we are getting that information put together as quickly as we can. It will be made available publicly. We intend to be fully transparent on this, and there will absolutely be debriefs on any of the learnings that come out through the next few days. But we need some time to really focus on getting that repair done right now. So those answers will be forthcoming. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
Why didn't we get an emergency alert when you updated the local state of an emergency?
It's a very good question. Why didn't we do one of those emergency alerts? And I'm going to get Chief Sue Henry to weigh in on that.
Thank you. So those critical alerts are used for when we need citizens to take an immediate action for life safety within the next 30 to 90 minutes. So the state of local emergency declaration itself, we have other methods to get that information out into the community, and we don't need an immediate action to protect life and safety, so it doesn't get issued for something like that.
So you have previously said that issuing a state of local emergency wouldn't really give you any more powers. What
Yes.
had changed to make you issue that? Are you granted more powers now, or is that just a way of making everyone take this seriously?
There was an incredible change yesterday. The magnitude of this incident has changed. We had one site that we were working on and one repair. We now have 5. And the goal is to work on those concurrently. And we're trying to prepare for any eventuality that might happen so that we are ready. As of today, we don't intend to use any of those powers, but we need to be ready to use them if we have to as this work is progressing.
Powers would those be?
There are a number of powers. There's quite a long list of powers that come with it. It's things like enter onto private property. It's things like removal of trees, procurement, activation of emergency plans and programs is one of the big ones. So for us, as I mentioned, the 5 sites, very, very complicated to do 5 large work sites at the same time. And we're building the plan to be able to do that. It provides us a little more horsepower to enact that.
Good.